2008 Ford Escape with a complaint of loss of steering feel, clunking, snapping in the steering, overcorrecting because the loss of the feel of the center line of the road. So the steering is always drifting, trying to correct, can't find the center line. Obviously something wrong here. This truck was just into Ford for a recall notice regarding the electric assist assembly. This truck doesn't have conventional hydraulic power steering assist. It uses an electronic motor. So that electronic motor was deemed as failed and fit the criteria to be replaced under the recall. So the electric assist motor was just replaced at a Ford dealership. They had the entire steering column assembly out of this truck. Put it back together, let the customer know that they noticed that the intermediate shaft needed to be replaced. That would be a customer pay item over and above the covered recall. They quoted the job at over $600. Told the customer that the intermediate shaft again needed replacing. Customer opted to pick up the vehicle and for a second opinion. Obviously there's still a very obvious and major issue with the steering. That's not right. Just at idle you can feel the play in the steering. But again, it was released to the customer, no problem, and she opted for a second opinion. A 5-minute inspection allows me to remove this boot at the firewall behind the pedals, which exposes the steering column shaft, the lower end of it that attaches to the steering rack. There is a replaceable U-joint assembly, 2 yokes and a U-joint. Okay, they're replaceable, serviced separately from the intermediate shaft. It joins the intermediate shaft to the steering rack. Above here's up top here is the intermediate shaft. It follows up to a second U-joint which attaches to the electric assist assembly. So between this lower U-joint and the upper U-joint above the camera, which attaches to the auto assist assembly, that is the intermediate shaft. Now that shaft assembly was quoted for replacement at the dealership. Parts and labor over $600. Unfortunately, it's bad information that it needed to be replaced, because we can see very clearly the replaceable yoke assembly at the bottom here. And we can see where this lack of steering feel is coming from. We can see where the clunking is coming from. That excessive play that simply shouldn't be there. That U-joint should transfer 1-to-1 energy from the intermediate shaft to the rack through that joint. It's hardly transferring 1-to-1 with that amount of play in it. It's completely wore out, unsafe. And the kicker is, it's a 5-minute inspection, and this part can be bought for $65. That's a $65 part. Okay?
So second opinions matter. There's a lot of bad information out there about steering issues. Well, any automotive related issue for that matter. So there's the before video of an '08 Ford Escape lower column U-joint. And we're going to take a video after it's changed to show what it should look like. This is what it should not look like. Okay, so we'll check in a bit.